right, here we go. Sarah here. Welcome back to another episode of Your Fucking Welcome. Today, I want to talk to you about something called the one wrong move syndrome and why it might be affecting a whole lot of things in your life, but most specifically, your business. So, long story short, I didn't know what I was going to talk to you about today. I was thinking on it, because we were in the process of launching my signature program, Show Up and Blow Up, as a self-study program. And that's something that it really hasn't been available as very often over the past few years. I've mostly done it as a live group program, more specifically a live challenge. And this is really the first time I'm giving all of that information as an accessible self-study program. It's $500 or 2 monthly payments of $275, which is, my God, such a no-brainer price for what you get for this program and for what this program makes possible. But so like I said, as I was thinking about what to talk to you about that, naturally leads into Show Up and Blow Up, I was struggling a little bit, just in the sense that there are so many things about that program that I've talked to you about for so long. But then I was on a call this morning with my Unapologetic Empire program, and I was talking to one of my clients who had a really great month in January. She put in the work, she showed up big, consistently, in a way that was powerful. And not to say that the way that she was like showing up was more powerful than ever before, but I feel like she got to this place where she was more empowered than ever before, and taking such ownership around what a prize she is, right? Like, instead of this feeling of like, oh God, our audience is, we've got to impress them, we've got to get it right for them if we want the sale. I watched her really step into this place of, I'm the leader, I'm the boss, and I deserve these sales. But when we come into February, we were just having a conversation where it can feel like, oh God, I just hit this big goal. I got the sales that I wanted. What now? What do I do? I could do this. I could do that. And there are so many different paths that she could potentially go down. And, there's definitely that fear around, what if I make the wrong decision? And so I started talking to her about this passage in the book, When Food is Love by Janine Roth. Side note, if you are somebody who has struggled like even a little bit with food, body issues, any of that, I highly recommend her work. It's been suggested to me many times over the years, and I feel like I just wasn't quite ready for whatever reason to dive in. And I have over the past few weeks. I read When Food is Love. I've read, I think it's Women, God, and Food. I might be getting the order of that wrong. But then a few other ones, and I've just been like, literally just absorbing everything I possibly can from this woman, because while there are so many things that have been said in her work that I've heard before, her words, for whatever reason, have brought just like a whole new light and a whole new meaning to a lot of it. And I feel like it has affected me more powerfully and positively than a lot of other things ever have. But my point is that she talks a lot about this thing called the one wrong move syndrome in her book, When Food is Love. And obviously I can read that to you, that the term, and it feels pretty self-explanatory, but I just wanted to go a little bit deeper, and I wanted to read the passage from this book to you, and then talk a little bit about how you might be doing this in your business. And so the passage is, the one wrong move syndrome is not something you do. It's a way that you are. Your words and actions are tinged with the urgent knowledge that your future rests on doing the right thing in this moment now. If you make a mistake, you will ruin everything. The world is divided into good and bad, right and wrong, black and white. There are no grays, no in-betweens. There is no room for paradox. There is no past. There is no mercy. If you ask about homework on the wrong night, if you pick up the phone when you are not supposed to, you will not be forgiven. If you are not perfect, you are bad. And if you are bad, you are terrible. The judgments are relentless. When you grow up believing that you are loved because of what you do, not who you are, your survival depends on doing the right thing. If you make one wrong move, you believe you will die. The one wrong move syndrome is a description of a reaction to a feeling, event, or person in which it seems that in one moment everything is fine, and in the next moment there is nothing, not one single thing that is right or good in your world. The one wrong move syndrome is a description of what it feels like to be a reasonably confident adult one moment and a terrified child the next. So I know you might have to listen to that a few times, or possibly read it, but maybe we can put it into the show notes to really absorb it. But again, why I'm bringing this up today is because I was having this conversation with this client who had these wins, and she made a good chunk of money in January, and she was so pleased with her momentum. And instead of just continuing to do the next thing that felt right, or like continue on the path, there's this feeling of, okay, I got this thing, I did this thing, I don't want to fuck it up. I could make this wrong move, and I could, try to sell this thing and it couldn't work. And then I'm back to square one. And again, it's just this feeling of like real danger, right? When we're talking about our money, when we're talking about our livelihoods, it can feel very easy to believe that you can fuck it up and that you could fuck it up with just doing one wrong thing, making that one wrong decision. So what I said to her was, I was like, okay, if we're talking about what you do next, because she was saying, I want to obviously keep making money, but I don't know if I could like sell another program right now or create another program. I don't know if I feel equipped for that. I'm like, okay, if you had $1 billion in your bank account, what would you do next? What would be the next move? And she was like, well, I would like more one-on-one clients. I'm like, okay, so let's figure out how we get more one-on-one clients. And the way that I described it to her is like, it's almost as though so many people, they'll be in the middle of like a forest, and there's just, they're surrounded by trees. They're surrounded by all of this stuff, right? All of this stuff is in their face and they can't see anything. They can't see kind of like the destination. They just know that there's, again, all of this stuff in their face, and they feel lost and they feel overwhelmed and they feel like surrounded. And there are so many different options and they don't know which path to take because, again, it feels so scary to get somewhere else. And I was like, the one important thing we have to remember over and over and over again is that when we're lost in the forest and we're trying to make the next move, but we don't know where we're going, that's always going to keep us lost. So the first step is, number one, where do we want to go next? Where do we want to go? Because the thing is, if we're looking at, like, literally, if you can envision me in the middle of a forest and I've got 5 different paths that I could walk, and we're relating this to business, roll with me for a second here. We've got 5 different paths that we could walk. And one of the paths is, creating this new program. The second path is selling one-on-one clients, so on and so forth. Any path will work. Any path will work. It's not about, I have to make the right move here, I have to go down the right path, or everything is going to crumble. It's about deciding what path you want to take and then continuing to decide that that's the right move for you, because any path could be the right move. If you want to create that next program, do it. If you want to sell one-on-one coaching, do it. Any of those things can work. They can be the right move if you decide that they're the right move and operate and show up accordingly. But what most of us so often do is, again, we're afraid to fuck it up. So rather than deciding where we want to go, rather than truly committing to the path that we choose, we question ourselves and we doubt ourselves and we go back and forth to this path and that path, and we do half of this and a little bit of that, and we wind up floundering. And I don't want to say messing up the momentum we created, because I don't believe that that's a thing, but we wind up stopping short the momentum because we didn't trust ourselves to keep building the momentum. Just keep doing what worked. You know that connecting with your audience is working. You know that showing up in this one particular platform is working. You know, if we're actually listening to our people, they're telling us what they want. They're telling us what they're struggling with. They're telling us what they're most engaged by and excited by. Listen to that. We're so out of body when we're focusing on what the next right thing is, right? Because we're so afraid to make the wrong move, that we're not listening and we're not picking up on what's actually present and giving ourselves enough credit to just continue what we're doing, right? And so, again, I wanted to bring this up because when it comes to, if we're talking about show up and blow up as an example, the beauty and the magic of a program like Show Up and Blow Up is that it is giving you what to do simply, and then encouraging you to keep fucking doing it. I remember this, that one of the first times I launched Show Up and Blow Up, we did it as a live group program, as a live challenge. And for 30 days as a live program, the challenge was to every single day give to your audience and ask for a sale from your audience, right? Nice and simple. If you pick your one platform, you give, you ask, you give, you ask every single day for 30 days. Now, Show Up and Blow Up, 500K sales system is definitely my most purchased program ever, and it's where I've made the most money. Show Up and Blow Up is a close second, but what I will say is Show Up and Blow Up out of all of my programs is absolutely the one that has gotten the best results for people because of that core piece around the action. And I remember one of the first times I launched it, somebody in the program said to me, they're like, well, we just do the same thing every single day for the challenge. Like, that's kind of repetitive. And I'm like, that's the fucking point. We're so obsessed with like the shiny objects that exist and all the possibilities that exist. And again, we're so afraid to make the wrong move that we don't allow ourselves to just decide, again, that path we want to take. We don't want to just create a plan and actually work the plan. We want to create all of the options and all of the possibilities because, again, it feels so scary to commit to something if it's the wrong move. So instead, we make, quote unquote, the wrong move by making all the moves and not committing to anything and being all over the place. And so again, I just wanted to talk about this with you today because one thing I have learned over and over again, and one of the things that I believe so fucking deeply when it comes to what all of us are doing, is that simplicity plus consistency does more for you than anything else when it comes to creating money, let alone creating money quickly and consistently. You do not have to do more things. You have to decide what you want to do and do it and choose that it could not possibly be the wrong fucking move. The only thing that can be the wrong move for you is the thing that you don't do. It's the thing that you don't believe in. I've said this many times before, but if I'm talking to all of you right now, I'm willing to bet that 99% of you never actually failed at something you went all in on. You can't say that I tried to do this thing for 30 days and I did it for 30 days and then I didn't get the result that I wanted. Very few of you can say that. And there are probably some like weird exceptions to that rule. I know most of you, I've worked with so many of you. You are committed, you are driven, you are smart, you are determined, but you're also scared. So it's not that you can't get the results when you have failed in your life. It's that you probably pumped the brakes short because you were so afraid to commit to something and go all in on it. And it couldn't, there was that possibility of it not working that you quit before the finish line, right? So what I want to, again, encourage you here to do is trust yourself. Trust yourself that the move that I want to make is the right move for me. And I'm going to trust myself to take the actions, to take the steps, to do the thing on a daily basis until it motherfucking works. You will have far more success with anything in your life by committing to it and doing it than this constant practice and this constant cycle that I see so many of you in, where you try something for one day, you don't like the way that it worked for you. Oh, the second thing could possibly work, so let me try that. Then let me try the third thing. Let me try the fourth thing. There are some of you, and we've had conversations about this, I'm not saying this in a mean way, there are some of you who have been in my world for years, and I've been sitting there preaching about fewer platforms, showing up energetically on a few platforms, and it's like, you hear me, but the FOMO won't allow you to actually like absorb that information and act accordingly. Because you feel like, no, it can't possibly be this simple. It can't possibly be this easy. I have to try to do more things. And while you can do that if you want to, there's no way in the world that you should be doing that if you're not doing a great job on the first things that you're doing, those first platforms that you're working. And so again, I'll say it again, this one wrong move syndrome keeps us in this place where like, if I make one decision, it could be the wrong one. And therefore that feels so scary that I'm not going to commit to anything. And I'm just going to try to do all the things. And I want you to just see clearly that that keeps you further from getting the results that you want than committing. Committing gets you closer. I promise you that. I promise you that. I promise you that. And I just want you to absorb that and remember that. And if right now you are, somebody who, I was going to say struggling to make money, but I want to be clear when I say that. I don't mean that means you can't get a single sale. I mean that might mean for you that you right now are like launching your coaching business or your service-based business, whatever, and you haven't gotten a single sale. It might mean that, but it also might mean that you were, killing it with your email list and now you really want to get Instagram moving, but you're struggling to make money on Instagram, even though your email list is making you six figures, but like you want to get a new platform moving, but you don't quite know how to monetize it. Show Up and Blow Up will help you with that. It will help you commit to this process of growing your audience, nurturing your audience, selling to your audience in this consistent way that, again, gives you discipline. It gives you, therefore, freedom. You know what to do every day. You do it. And to me, there's so much magic in that, but it's not magic at all. It's just common sense, right? Like it's just problem solving. I believe deeply that if I, as a business owner, my job is to solve problems. People who buy from me want solutions to the problems that they have. If I show up in front of the people with the problems and I offer them my solutions, I will make money. And I'll say it again, this can only happen when you commit to doing that and doing it the same way versus being all over the place, right? And again, trusting yourself to not make the wrong move and trusting yourself to choose what you want to do and do it will change your life. And if you need help with that, I really do deeply believe that Show Up and Blow Up is like a soulmate program for you because it will help you do exactly that. So SarahDashdan.com, obviously, for all the details on Show Up and Blow Up. I hope that was helpful, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, I would really, really, really appreciate it if you took the time to rate, review, and subscribe. It really helps the show a ton, and I would be super grateful.